Paris, a city known for its culture, history, and most of all, romance. A city that feels so familiar to all. But how many truly know the real Paris? Is there even a real version of Paris, or is Paris shaped by each person's experience? Is the version of Paris we see just a reflection of who we are, or a mosaic of the complicated and tumultuous history that Paris has undergone? These questions and many more have echoed through my mind as we have explored Paris through literature and film. Traversing decades, forms of media, and genres have culminated into a complex view of Paris that is much more nuanced than my initial understanding of the city. Upon much contemplation, I realized that Paris serves as a mirror revealing the true condition of its inhabitants and their underlying desire for connection. Desire for connection is a motif that came up time and time again with each work that we read and watched, perhaps emphasized or highlighted in Paris, but transcending its borders into the lives of all everywhere. Maybe that is one of the reasons that Paris is so alluring to many worldwide. Regardless of your background, you can relate to many of the themes explored in Parisian media. For this reflection, I would like to take us on a deeper dive of the film The Dreamers, directed by Bernardo Bertolucci, and the book Les Années by Annie Ernaux. In The Dreamers, we see a pair of siblings befriend an American, launching them into an unconventional and wild romantic experience with the backdrop of the May 1968 riots. Their emotional turbulence is reflected in the city's unrest, or is the city's unrest contributing to their fragmented state of mind? Here we see a very different version of Paris from the romanticized version we had seen previously. Political unrest has overrun the city and reflects the conflict within the lives of its inhabitants. Matthew, Isabel, and Theo view and experience Paris incredibly differently, feeding into the idea that maybe there's not just one version of Paris, but rather the version of Paris that each individual experiences due to their own history. Matthew, as a foreigner, sees Paris as romantic and poetic. In contrast, Isabel and Theo see Paris as their home, yet they feel a sense of alienation and solitude within the city, thereby driving them to seek out a connection with Matthew. Ultimately, once they leave the apartment, they respond differently, further emphasizing their different interpretations of the city. Matthew flees the chaos in the city, whereas Isabel and Theo remain in their state of madness and run towards the city. Is it possible to find true connection in a city that seems to shapeshift depending on the eye of its beholder? Les Années by Annie Ernaux captures an entirely new form of Paris. Her Paris is incredibly dynamic and captures her own experience in the city throughout her life. In writing an autobiography, she pieces together many different personal and collective events, creating a fragmented narrative. This fragmented representation of Paris mirrors her fragmented memories. This quote perfectly captures the idea of trying to piece together a complicated, multifaceted person into a single narrative. She would like to assemble these multiple images of herself, separate and discordant, thread them together with the story of her existence, starting with her birth during World War II up until the present day. Therefore, an existence that is singular but also merged with the movements of a generation. This description, although of herself, perfectly reflects the ideas that we have explored in the past couple months. Paris cannot fit one singular description. It is the merging of many generations, ideas, perspectives, truth versus false reality. If it is so hard for her to capture all of the complexities of a single person, herself, how difficult is it to do the same for an entire city? She describes that Paris was beauty and power, a mysterious, frightening entity. These words contrast one another. They exemplify the duality of Paris. What makes it so frightening and mysterious? This autobiography serves as her connection to all others who know or hope to know Paris. Her desire for connection seems to be less concerned with those in her life. Despite having been married, she did not seem to be very interested in having children or overly interested in romantic connection, juxtaposing many of the other characters we studied this semester, which desperately sought romance. However, this autobiography is her way of connecting with younger generations to present them with her version of real Paris. When analyzing both works, we can see how the portrayal of the city is shaped and molded by those describing it. This idea of shaping and molding makes me think of Haussmann's restructuring of Paris and the tremendous impact that the physical restructuring of Paris had on the culture and history of the city. Would things be different had the restructuring not occurred? The layout of the city to me has always seemed like it leads to a central point. It seems to almost spiral in at the center. It nearly resembles a heart in shape and also in the idea of all roads leading to the center, just like the human heart. The city becomes so well connected after the restructuring, but people still felt alone, perhaps even more so than before the restructuring. Is it even possible to have connection in a city that has contained so many unique perspectives that is often described as being isolating, alienating, and fake? Perhaps, perhaps not, but without a doubt, people will continue trying. Everybody seeks connection. Matthew, Isabel, Theo, Annie, all by finding the true version of others and the true version of themselves. This is a sentiment that we can all relate to. Wanting to fit in, find your people, your person, a strong desire for a sense of belonging and oneness with others. An idea highlighted within many of the works explored this semester, not just the two I analyzed here, but I hope to leave you a better sense of how Paris is a reflection of those in it and how innate of a desire it is to find human connection, even in a city like Paris. Merci pour votre temps. It's been a wonderful semester, and I hope you all enjoyed my research film. Au revoir!